Ah, there it is.
All right, President Barack Obama making a huge announcement on the future of our energy.
Today, we're announcing the expansion of offshore oil and gas exploration, but in ways that balance the need to harness domestic energy resources and the need to protect America's natural resources.
This is an about face for the president. Remember when he was out on the campaign trail and he didn't like this idea?
What wouldn't do a thing to lower gas prices is John McCain's new proposal, a proposal adopted by George Bush as well, to open up Florida's coastline to offshore drilling. Offshore drilling would not lower gas prices today. It would not lower gas prices tomorrow. It would not lower gas prices this year. It would not lower gas prices 5 years from now.
So what turned him? Maybe the president is out and out messing with the Republicans after getting his health care bill passed. Regardless, maybe this offshore exploration really is good for America's economy and security, perhaps. Let's bring in Vince Haley, author of Drill Here, Drill Now, Pay Less, and Fox News contributor Monica Crowley. Vince, if we'll start with you, tell us a little bit. I mean, is this good for America? Is this good for our security?
Well, offshore drilling is good for America. It's good for jobs. It's good for new wealth. I mean, America wants drill, baby, drill, but today they got delay, baby, delay. That's the truth. Nothing new here today. The president in August of 08, during the campaign, talked about wanting to drill offshore. And today he said again he wants to drill offshore. But today the key sentence from his statement was he will consider potential areas. That's a double conditional. That's the big news today, is that there is no news.
But Monica, you know, it's people are like some people like myself are torn. You know, we want lower gas prices. We don't want to be dependent on these volatile Middle East countries. But I was happy to read that they're not going to be drilling off the coast of New Jersey, where selfishly I have a house as well. So, I mean, I think that's where the dichotomy is, where we're kind of torn, is that we do want the oil drilling, just not in my backyard, because you know what? There will be spills and there will be damage. I mean, it happens.
You get a lot of that sentiment, but since the big spill off the coast of California about 3 decades ago, the big oil companies have really put a lot of time, money, and resources into making sure that their drilling is a lot more safe and environmentally sound.
But it's not as close either.
But the country, look, this is a national security issue, and you're exactly right. The not in my backyard thing has got to go, because we all feel like we're in this energy security thing together, and that means, you know, drilling off of the mid-Atlantic coast as well as Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, and what he didn't announce today was any kind of drilling on the Pacific coast, including Alaska. Now, Sarah Palin has been making this argument for a long time that, look, we have tremendous energy resources right here that we are sitting on. Why not exploit them, again, in environmentally sound ways? We can extract the energy from underneath us. Why do we continue to be so reliant on a lot of these terrorist states coming out of the Gulf?
But that's the big question, I think, right? So why now, and why not go all the way with it? If you're gonna do it, let's go drill in Jersey. I don't care.
No,
you gotta be okay with
let's have test cases someplace else, and then go big.
Get us off our dependence on foreign oil.
Yeah.
So he went halfway with it, and yet why now?
Right. Well, I think that there is a real political calculation going on, because, you know, Obama being Obama, he kind of went halfway. He looked like he was actually doing something, whereas Vince points out he really wasn't. But the point is, he's trying to get a cap and trade bill through the Congress. It was passed by the House last year. It's languishing in the Senate because a lot of coal-producing Democrats, like Jay Rockefeller from West Virginia, are resistant to it. So what he's trying to do is attract some bipartisan support to this by looking like he is throwing the Republicans a bone for oil exploration.
Vince, let's expand on that thought, building on what you were saying earlier, that you don't even think there was any real news in this today. Is this simply a political ploy by Obama to paint the Republicans into an ugly corner?
He's trying to engage in a negotiation to raise energy taxes. So imagine the negotiation. He says, let's impose a lot of new energy taxes, skyrocket electricity prices. And Republicans say, okay, what's in it for us? And he says, I will consider potential areas of development in the future. That's the deal he's offering. But you ask, why now? 15 million Americans are out of work. That's why now. It promises new jobs and new wealth. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of new jobs a year. And what he did today was to say, delay, delay, delay.
Right. Well, Vince, along those lines, I mean, you know, we got to start someplace. And, you know, even if He, as Tracy said, opened up the whole thing. There are going to be lawsuits. They're going to delay this. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. These companies have to get everything in order. And, you know, for somebody who's a little hesitant like myself, you know, I appreciate this test case. So we know how to do it the right way, not just slam and go overboard and drill everywhere. I mean, I want to drill, but let's do it right.
We are doing it right. We're doing it right off the coast of California today. We're doing it right in Alaska today. You know, the serious problem here is a challenge of Americans out of work, and we need to develop new wealth in this country.
Yeah.
What the president has done today is to simply sort of, it's frankly dishonest, saying that he's for something when in fact he's not. And I'll say this. We just saw the president do, when we know he's serious, what does he do? He bends arms, he buys off votes from his own party, and he passes a health care bill through the Congress against the wishes of the American people. What do we have? We want 60% of Americans want offshore drilling, and yet he's hiding behind environmental lawyers and environmental impact reviews. We know when he's serious. We saw him serious in the last several months. He's not
that's
serious.
the thing. So what are we talking about? Some exploration. We're not really talking about immediate drilling by any stretch.
Yeah,
We're also talking about, well, we got to pay for this. We're going to see an energy tax at the end of the day on top of all this.
Right.
So you're not going to have all the jobs you're looking for, and you're going to have a tax.
Actually, a double tax, because if they get their way with cap and trade, that's a huge tax. Actually, it's the largest tax increase in the history of the world if this thing goes through. And the second thing is, if they succeed in getting a VAT tax, a value-added national tax, every single product you buy that has energy put into it will be astronomical. But there's another reason he's doing this. We mentioned cap and trade as a political ploy. Now is $3 a gallon, or nearing $3 a gallon. Last time that took place was during the presidential campaign in 2008, where he and the Democrats plastered Bush, plastered the Republicans, right? And so now he's saying, wait a minute, summer's coming up, driving season's coming up. I don't want to get plastered. I want to preempt it by looking like I'm doing something now.
Vince, can you just clarify one thing? We're out of time here, but can you clarify? It seems to me that if we open up offshore drilling, we will actually be charging companies the right to come in there. Won't we raise revenues simply by opening up offshore drilling? Yes or no? I'm sorry, we're out of time, man.
Yes, and also if you open up offshore drilling, you lower gas prices. The president's wrong. You will lower gas prices.
And
that
will
puts more money in
generate
people's pockets.
revenues for the government. Thank you, Vince.
And jobs. Thank you very much, Vince Haley, for joining us. And Monica's going to come back in a little while.